Hello and what is up guys, Rai here and welcome back to some more automation and of course BeamNG.Drive. Today we are going to be taking our own 1995 inspired F1 car. We're going to compete this thing against a 2017 F1 car in BeamNG. You might be asking, Rai, why are we competing such an old car against such a new car? Well, that's what we have in BeamNG. There's a 2017-2018 F1 car mod in BeamNG, and we're going to compete that thing head-to-head against our own F1-ish kind of car, which is 1995 model year. So, before we actually hop into BeamNG, there's a couple things we have to do. We have to modify the car. We're going to bring it into modern spec-ish. Of course, I don't think we're going to fit the modern rules and regulations for aero, because I don't want to change too much in the design. I think it looks pretty cool. It's decently quick, but there are a few touches I want to do to make sure it works perfectly in BeamNG.Drive if we have any hope of beating this car. So the car we're going up against, I'm pretty sure, is a 1.6 liter twin turbo or turbocharged V6 engine. Revs really high, it's very fast. I can do 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. It's very quick. This thing is actually slower than that. Of course, it's much newer in general. It's got active aero, etc. We don't have any active aero. We're not going to have any active aero in BeamNG because this is an automation car and not a BeamNG mod. So let's go ahead, modify the car a bit. We're going to bring it up to the 2020 model year. Let's go up to, I think, 2017. I think what we're going to go to 2017. That's what the mod is. So 2017 model year. We got some issues. Severe wheel spin issues. That's totally fine. So let's go back to basics. Carbon fiber, monocoque carbon fiber, mid-engine, push rod. We can push rod actually. So push rod. We have less reliability because we're bottoming out probably. That's okay, but we are saving money. Or we're saving weight actually. It's going to cost more money. That's okay. So push rod suspension. We're going down, I know, to a 1.6 liter V6 turbo. Of course, automation turbochargers are not really known for being really realistic because it's automation. The turbo update's coming though. So what we're going to do is turbocharge this ourselves and have it similar-ish. It's going to be close-ish. It might not be as powerful, but it's going to be pretty close. Let's lower the ignition timing down quite a bit, increase the exhaust diameter. I mean, do F1 cars have catalytic converters? These are things I don't know. I'm not really a race car expert. I don't know too much about F1 personally. Let's lower compression a bit, even though that's probably not realistic. And let's just get this thing to actually drive perfectly fine, obviously. Give it a lot more fuel. No, not a lot more fuel. Not that much. Not that much yet. Okay, let's give it that for now. Let's give it a much higher aero ratio. Let's give it like a 1.1. Let's do a race tune. So far, not going so good. I don't think we'll get as much horsepower nearly as the actual car. We will modify the J-beam of this car before we hop into BeamNG and race it a little bit to make it a bit more competitive because this thing is not going to be too competitive in general. So bigger compressor, a little bit bigger turbine. So I'll do, like I said, a few things here and there. We got to make this thing as competitive as possible. It's going to be so laggy. It's going to be so laggy it hurts. But honestly, that's the fun. This is just for fun, obviously, guys. It's not going to be a realistic build with the engine, at least. It's going to be a 1.6 liter twin turbo V6 because that sounds realistic, I think, in my book. I mean, it's F1 cars have it in real life, so we have to have it too, right? So we'll keep tuning it. I'm going to jump ahead probably, honestly, and keep tuning because this thing is going to be an absolute nightmare to get tons of power. But we can do it. I'll see you guys in a sec. I'll tune this engine. We'll make sure it's all good. Okay guys, the engine's done, and most of the other basics are done as well. Suspension's tuned, the brakes are tuned, the tires are retuned, everything's retuned basically. 0 to 60, 2.5 seconds, or 0 to 100 obviously. 2.2 Gs, which is pretty decent. 353 kilometers an hour top speed, 9-second quarter mile on 9.1 if we're rounding up. Weighs just over 1,600 pounds, which is in and around the same weight as actual F1 cars. I'm pretty proud of that. Of course, the engine, that's the big important thing. It's not up to F1 car spec because it's automation. We can't make it the exact same. I left it bore on the stroke the exact same, or similar. I lowered it to 1.6 liters. It now makes 707 horsepower. 390 or so pound-feet of torque, so not a lot of torque. We're going to up that, of course, in BeamNG. One thing you're going to notice is how mountainous this power curve is. This is an absolute monstrously terrible power curve. I know it's terrible. I just wanted to see how much power we could get in automation. I'm going to tune this thing in BeamNG. I'll make the power band a little more broad by keeping around the same peak horsepower, but for much longer. It's going to make it up to 15,000 or so RPM. Because this thing's going to rev to 15,000 RPM, because it's an F1 car. Besides that, it's got a 7-speed sequential now, which will be changed to an 8-speed electric limited slip diff. In old automation, when I actually built this car before, electric LSDs didn't really do anything. but, or they didn't really do much. I mean, they're fine, but now electric LSDs are significantly better. That'll help me out a lot. Downforce is tweaked. We still have semi-slicks. The front tires are a little bit larger, but still pretty much the same. I'm going to keep the wheels the same size, probably. I'm going to keep most of the things the same, carbon ceramics, etc. What we're going to do is design this car really quick in a short time lapse. I'm going to modify the wing, because I think I had an issue with the front wing always falling off. I'm going to modify it so the front wing stays on, and a few other things to make it look a little bit more 2020. And then if I will hop into BeamNG, and we'll see which car is the best F1 car, automation or BeamNG. So we'll design this car, sit back, relax guys, and of course, I hope you enjoy. And we're starting the redesign, or the slight design tweaks of our F1 car. So the first thing I do is actually delete one of the front spoilers, or one of the front wings. There was two of them overlapping and it caused them to sort of break in BeamNG, so I fixed it just having one. I moved the decals around a little bit on the front as well, changing the color to a simple blue, and honestly not a whole lot has to be done. Changing the wheel color, change the wheel design. And what we're going to do mostly is just tweak the rear air intake. So there's not really a lot to talk about. It's like the simplest redesign ever. But before we actually hop into BeamNG, we had the front, the visor, the windshield, I'm not too sure what it's called. And we are just adjusting the intake. It's pretty simple. So the specs, we are pretty powerful, 900 horsepower. 1,500, 1,600 pounds, which is similar to the F1 car we're actually versing, having this one huge air intake on top after we delete the two. One huge air intake on top. It's actually slightly angled, but that's fine. So what we're going to do is test it in a few different events, and I'll announce those events once we actually get into BeamNG.Drive, adding a number 3 on the front of the vehicle, which I don't realize is the number of the F1 car that we're racing. Change the exhaust around in the rear, and just tweak the rear wing. So we're looking for a wing that's massive, it fits the width of the car, etc. It's not going to follow proper F1 rules. I start with this wing, I start to make my own custom wing, basically, making parts of it invisible, but I decided against that because it looks kind of wonky, ending up with this thing and making a massive table on the back of the car, and we renamed the car to the Maven Performance 16-6. Alright guys, so finally we have both the cars in front of us. This is the FR17 BeamNG mod on the right. It looks like a real F1 race car. You know, it's got race car tires, it's got active aero, it's got... You know, I never really noticed how just massive F1 cars actually are. It's quite a bit larger than my thing. It's quite a bit narrower and quite a bit longer. Obviously, the automation car is not to scale, and of course, on the left, this is my car. It is retuned, it's redesigned just a little bit, just a few tweaks here and there. The wing is changed, the front and rear wing, the front spoiler, the rear spoiler wing are changed, and then this big air suck, the intake's changed. I don't think it really fits in with 2020 or 2017, but hey, you know, it looks pretty cool. So that's got that, and it's got this this visor guard, wind guard thing. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. What's the technical term? I don't know. Number 3 on the side there, because might as well add a number if we can. Oh, they're also number 3. I didn't notice that. Well, ignore that, I guess. But yeah, so let's listen to both the cars before we actually start. So this is my car, I think. Oh, we have on the left? Nope, this is my car. So twin turbo V6. It's got about 900 or so horsepower and some amount of torque. We'll take a look in a sec at the actual specs. Sounds pretty good though. Sounds not bad. If we go over to the left here, it's the F1 car. We'll go pretty close because it is a lot quieter. I'll turn the volume probably in the race, but it's a lot quieter. It's very quiet. The pops and bangs are loud, but it's quiet. It's very quiet. It's got mirrors. Wait, do F1 cars have mirrors? I didn't even know that, honestly. I didn't know that. But hey, look at that. The steering wheel moves. It looks super cool. The aero actually works and stuff. Our aero does not work. And our steering wheel does not move, obviously. It's fixed in place. We got the ULU badge. We could hit Canada right there because, you know, Canada. But yeah, so we'll look at specs real quick here. Let's turn off this. So we got the F1 car here. I don't know why that's not working. Let's respawn this thing. Wait. The power graph isn't actually working, but, you know, believe me, guys, it makes like 700 or so horsepower and 300 or so newton meters of torque at peak. I don't know why the graph isn't working, but my car, The graph works. I don't know why the other one doesn't work for some reason. It did before, I promise. It makes about 900 horsepower, so actually a little more horsepower than the other car, and also more torque as well, around 500 or 600 pound-feet. It's probably not the most realistic setup, but you know what? It's, yeah, automation cars don't handle like BeamNG cars. They handle worse, so it's going to be pretty close, actually. They're both 8 speeds. This is converted to an 8-speed sequential instead of a 7-speed sequential that it was before. The gearing's changed and tuned. I also tuned the brakes a little bit, and I tuned the engine a lot to make similar, it's got a little more power, but similar-ish power. Yeah, I didn't change the aero, I didn't change like the tire grip, I changed the brakes a tiny bit for more brake grip, because the automation cars, they do not stop like BeamNG cars. So what we're gonna do, we are on the, I think this is a Lakeside Parkway. What is this called? This is called the Lakeside Park Raceway. We're gonna do the main track, the main circuit. We're gonna do 2 laps of this with each car to see which one gets a better time. Then we're gonna hop into a drag race and 0 to 60 test, because that seems like something you'd probably do while testing F1 cars. I mean, it doesn't, but it sounds like fun, so we're going to do that for the test number 2. And the final test is going to be a jump, because nothing says testing F1 cars again like a jump, and not just for fun. Honestly, I just want to see the 0 to 60, the quarter mile, and I want to see how these things handle on the track. I want to see, can I make a better automation car than I have a BeamNG mod? I'm not sure. Let's find out. Let's hop into the race. First up is going to be the actual F1 car, the VERRRrrry race car. So we'll hop in that and see what kind of lap it does. Alright guys, we're here with this bright yellow paint job. I'm not sure if this thing's a V6 or a V8, I don't know. It actually has over 900 horsepower, so the horsepower is actually quite comparable. We'll launch this thing. One thing I'm gonna mention is it likes to spin the tires at first so much. Crazy. There's a lot of wheel spin. Automation really grips, I think, compared to this thing. So this is Lakeside Park. We're gonna go a little slower here. I'm gonna brake maybe a little too much, but that's okay. I'm not too used to driving an F1 car on a normal autocross track, I guess is what this is, because yeah, we're gonna take it a little easy. Lap times are already it's already gonna be very quick. It's so quick. The active aero works so good. It grips so well, but the biggest problem so far is how my steering is set up. At least it's super small lock to lock. Like, you know, I don't have to turn the steering wheel very much, so I'm turning my steering wheel literally an inch maybe, and it's doing like crazy turns. It's turning a lot for 1 inch of movement. Well, that was close. Stay in the rev range here. Come on, we make all the power up top. It's fast. It is so fast. Now we're doing this in third person, obviously, because it looks better in third person. It's harder to drive. I can confirm it's much harder to drive in third person. In first, you can definitely drive it a lot faster, a lot better, but we're doing third because it looks better. Gotta get that quality content. Okay, we're gonna keep going here. Fourth, we're gonna brake a little more. Stay in fourth and just sort of coast. Look at that! Look at that speed! 340 finish in it. Second lap, a 41.1 second, a 128 overall. My fastest lap, or my fastest 2 laps ever. It's my only 2 laps ever. We're gonna hop into my car that I built, the Maven. I think it's the 6-16 or something. I don't even know what it's called. We'll hop into it, and we'll see what kind of lap we can set. Place your bets in the comments down below right now. I have no idea what's going to win, and that crash was insane. We'll hop into my car and see how it does. First thing you guys notice is my car is definitely a lot louder. It sounds a lot better, I think, in my opinion. Yeah, it looks okay. I'm loading this, the air suck is slightly angled, but that's okay. We're gonna launch this thing. It's obviously, we're gonna use no traction control because it's terrible. It's pretty quick so far. It scrapes a little bit on braking. Oh yeah, it's 100% not as fast in the corners. It feels scarier for sure. Feels like I have less grip. Maybe if I just do like a more consistent lap and like don't mess up, we can actually beat the VERRRrrry. But oh my gosh, this thing is terrifying to drive. If I was in first person, I am positive I can shave off like 5 seconds on each car at least. But my gosh, is this thing scary to drive. You can definitely tell the tires in this game are, from the automation car, are not as sticky as the BeamNG one, 100%. We can actually brake. The automation brakes, yep, they are better. Can confirm they are significantly better than the F1 car's brakes, which is a good thing. Yeah, we're not going that fast. Oh, there's some grass. We're good. 52. Oh, yeah, we're way off the mark already. Like, this thing's fast, and in first person, I could probably... Oh, we missed the marker! Okay, we'll get to the finish line. I'm counting that. I'm counting that. We'll get to the finish line here. We'll find the time here. Because, yeah, I'm counting that. Come on, we're counting. I was counting. A 47. A 47.9, pretty much. We'll count it as a 47 because this thing needs all the help it can get. Yeah, it didn't win. Let's just say it didn't win. The 47.9, it does not handle like the F1 car. The brakes are significantly better. In a straight line, though, is it faster? I'm not sure. We're going to hop into the drag strip and see the 0 to 60 time. And, of course, the quarter-mile time. Because, you know, right now, I cannot build a better F1 car. But we'll see if we can build a faster F1 car in a straight line. So we'll hop into the drag race with the FR17 first and see what kind of lap or what kind of time that thing can put down. Alright guys, we're at the drag strip. This is the F1 car in front of us. We're going to do a drag race. We're going to do a 0 to 60 time or a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time. And a quarter-mile drag race. See which car's faster. Just not head-to-head because the AI is terrible. We'll just do it separately. Traction control stays on this time, I think. We'll launch this thing full throttle here. 0 to 60. 1.9 seconds. That is fast. Quarter mile in 7.8. Oh my gosh. I don't... Was that my... That's my 14th best time of all time. I don't think my car can beat that. My gosh, that thing hooked up. Wow, when it has grip, it has grip. We'll hop into my car and see what quarter mile in 0 to 60 does. Because, wow, that's... I can't beat this thing. That's crazy. Finally, we're in my car here. We're going to do the drag race, quarter mile, 0 to 60, etc. Let's launch this thing already. Let's keep the traction control on here. Full throttle. Oh my god. Oh, we're going to restart that. That was not expected. We cannot launch this thing at full RPM because there's too much grip apparently. Alright. 1.7. A faster 0 to 60. I'll take it. And our gears are much shorter except for gear 8. 8.3, so slower quarter mile. Probably because we didn't floor it on the launch. We didn't actually launch the car at full RPM where we do with the F1. We launched the F1 car at 18,000 RPM. We launched this thing at like 10,000, which is crazy. So you know what? I think if we're counting these as 3 separate events, so I think I might give this to my car. I think I might give it to my car. If it wasn't pulling wheelies, I think it could do a better 0 to 60. If the tires work better, I think my car could do a better quarter mile time as well. I think it's pretty close. It's that close. I have tested some more, and the time's pretty consistent, but I think it's close enough. We can give it to my car. They've been both in and around, you know, high 7s to low 8s for both cars at all times. Even though this car's a little slower than the quarter mile, maybe, but I think we'll give it to my car. We're gonna hop in the jump arena and just see which car's farther, because they both have insane aero. Which car can fly farther? Whoever gets that is gonna win the title, because if my car's better, then that's awesome. We're gonna hop to the jump arena and see which car can fly farther. The last event of the day. This is the jump. This is the real important one, obviously. This is the almighty jump arena. This car, the volume's back down a little bit, so it's a little bit quieter, but that's okay. We're gonna launch this thing. Just do a little bit of a jump. See how far it can go. Whoever goes farther wins. That's the gist of it. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. It is not like the wind. Okay, and it lands at about 499. Wow, I don't know if that's beatable. I don't really have high hopes for it, to be honest. Who needs to know the speed? Oh gosh, that's not good. We're in 8th. Oh my gosh, we lost a tire. Oh gosh. We lost a tire. What happened? Oh, these cars are both awful. Let's go a little slow here. I think we're in 8th now. We're at top speed pretty much. Oh my god! We're flying! Oh my god! What's happening? Are we just flying? Is this it? Have we peaked? Oh my gosh. Well, I think it's safe to say that this is the farthest anyone's probably ever gotten in the jump arena. Up to the mountainside. Has anyone ever gone to the mountainside? This is the farthest jump I've ever seen. Ever! Oh, I actually didn't practice that at all. I have no idea what happened. Yeah, the aero is super weird. I guess I created a lift and it just took off and it just kept flying. That was, I'm not even gonna retry that. That was absolutely perfect. I'm keeping this. This is all one take. Perfect. I love this. I think we're gonna finish it off here. I think it's safe to say my car, I mean, pretty much lost, I guess. It was not as good to drive, but it won the hearts of it won. You know what? Let's just say my car won. My car won. I made a better F1 car than the BeamNG car. It handles worse. It looks worse. You know, it's slower in a quarter mile. It's faster 0 to 60, and it's way farther in the jump arena. So that's a victory in my eyes. If you guys want to see more head-to-head videos like this, let me know in the comments down below. What kind of cars I could test 1v1, maybe just straight BeamNG cars, whatever. You want to see more BeamNG content or automation, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord linked in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Your support means the world to me, and of course, as always, I will see you guys next time. It still drives. It still drives.